تحدث مركز دراسات الأمريكية العربية بأن الغارة الإسرائيلية على موقع
just like it regretted all its wars, such as the 33-day war, the 22-day war, and the 8-day war, the Zionist entity will regret its aggression against Syria. Iran, who chairs the non-aligned group, will use all its contacts to support Syria against the Zionist enemy.
Some major new concerns out of the Middle East. The head of Iran's National Security Council now saying that Israel will, quote, regret last week's alleged airstrike in Syria, and that the entire Muslim world should be ready to defend the Syrian people. Connor Powell is following this live from our Mideast Bureau. Connor, has Iran said how it might retaliate?
Well, Greg, both Iranian and Syrian officials have issued a lot of threats in the last week since this Israeli airstrike in Syria. But that's all it has essentially has been threats so far. Now, most observers and analysts believe that the most likely group to launch some type of retaliatory attack would probably be Hezbollah in Lebanon, in large part because Syria is just so bogged down with its own civil war, and Iran really just isn't in a position to strike, fearing a much larger war. Now, over the weekend, Syrian TV did release video of the military research facility they say was attacked by Israel last week. In the video, you can clearly see military vehicles. U.S. officials have said that Israeli jets bombed a weapons convoy heading to Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now, Syrian officials deny that, and they say there was no convoy. But in the video, there are obviously some large military vehicles that, if you were Syria, you could say that it was a research facility, and the U.S. and others could say that there was a convoy. There is a disagreement about what actually happened, but it does appear that this facility was hit, and there were military vehicles, presumably to move weapons to Hezbollah in Lebanon. Greg.
Connor, is there any sense as to whether Israel might likely strike Syrian targets yet again?
Well, Israel's always feared that a crumbling Assad regime would launch some type of, or would transfer weapons to Hezbollah or other extremist groups, and Israel has always said that they would take the steps to defend themselves. Now, Israel's not publicly taken responsibility for the airstrike in Syria last week, but the defense minister, Ehud Barak, over the weekend essentially, alluded to the fact that Israel had launched this attack and said that they would do anything they needed to do to protect Israel. So the chances of more strikes are very real, and we're getting more and more reports that there are Israeli jets flying over both Lebanon and Syria in the last couple of weeks. So there is definitely a real possibility of additional strikes going forward. Greg?
Connor Powell live in our Mideast Bureau. Connor, thank you.